And welcome to Cruising with Kayfabe. I'm Mongo.
Emily.
And today we have to talk about it. Revolution 2026 is in the books, and I don't know about you, but I'm just bursting at the seams to talk about how great this show was.
So I think that the past two revolutions have been so monumental. I was excited. See, I was excited for this, but not sure if it would live up to the expectation of Revolution being the pay per view of the year. And I would say this is definitely a contender. I want to say before we go over it, I give it a 9.75, and I will tell you when we get to it the one issue I have. And I think that is, I'm thrilled, over the moon, over the ring, over everything. Like, I
Somewhere over the
loved it.
rainbow. Just kidding.
No. I absolutely loved everything that AEW delivered last night, and I'm excited to see where these stories are going to go from here. Um, Everything is just gonna play out very
We're on the road.
interesting.
I mean, think about it. We're on the road to Vancouver. We're on the road to Queens for Double or Nothing. But we're also on the road to All In, baby. And last night definitely set up some moments for the next three pay-per-views for sure. So I think let's dive right into it. I'll kind of go over a little bit. I'm going to get your thoughts on it. I'll give you my thoughts on it, and we can kind of come to I guess, an agreement. And I'll give you my grade a little bit at the end. But if you've read Facebook, you've already kind of seen it. So the first match that we would open up with on the pre-show is Boom and Doom versus the Infantry. Now, I love Boom and Doom. I think they're fun. Fun facts. Big AJ still undefeated at an AEW pay-per-view, technically the pre-show. It was a great match featuring the Infantry. Again, the Rizzler, Big Justice. Lots of fun spots. So let me kind of ask, what was your thoughts on this match? What did you like? What maybe did you not like? And how do you feel about it?
I always enjoy Big Boom and the family environment. It always just like, it's just so wholesome. It's sweet. I think about our son being around the same age and how he would handle that kind of a situation. And I think it's so cool that these kids are
They're
getting
living
to
their
do
dream.
that. Um,
I mean, you had Wayne Brady pulling a Chappelle show, smacking one of them. You know, does Wayne Brady have to? You remember? I'm not going to repeat that and get us in trouble. We had that. You had the Rizzler rizzing up their girl, trying to take Carly Bravo's girl, rizzing her all up. You had Big Justice getting revenge for Rizzler getting pushed over, hitting a spear, and then you had the Boomsday device as the finisher, which it just pops me for a name. It was really cool. Big Boom AJ held him up, and QT kind of like a flipping cutter onto the ground. It was fun. It got the crowd hyped, and it's a good place for someone who is an actual trained wrestler. Yeah, he's a celebrity, he's an influencer, whatever you want to call him, but it's a great place. And that LA crowd, they were ready to go. And before we get into the next match, I want to point out this was the Staples Center, Crypto.com Arena, whatever you want to call it, in LA during the Oscars, and they still put over 12,000 people in this venue and sold it out. And that crowd, from the moment that first bell rang to that last moment happened, was hot the entire night. Like, there may have been 13 plus matches on this card, but it didn't drag on, and that crowd, they killed it last night.
I'm really curious as to why we got a Wayne Brady recognition, but not a Freddie Prinze Jr.
Well, he did kind of in the Battle Royal. He messed with him, and Jeff Dye messed with Ricochet a little bit.
But we didn't get like a Freddie Prinze Jr. graphic on the bottom of the screen. And we did get one for Wayne Brady. I'm curious if that was like his choicing, what that was. Maybe, I don't know.
But
Maybe press passes. Who knows? I think that,
I'm,
yeah, it was kind of cool.
I think it's funny too because you technically have two people like Hollywood, and they're not at the Oscars; they're at AEW. And
Mm-hmm.
RJ throwing shade at the beginning, to basically telling the Oscars to go f off, and that this is where the fun was. Was absolutely right. I mean, next match we have is Willow defeating Lena Cross.
Speaking of Golden.
But what I really liked, and I'll get to your thoughts too, is I liked Lena Cross working her arm and shoulder the entire match because it set up what we kind of predicted, what Emily talked about on the Pick Show, Jeff and Rachel did too. Working Willow, making her tired. You even called during this match, oh, they're going to show her a medical later before her tag team match. So you kind of called that story, and then Megan Bain coming out at the end, attacking her, Harley coming out. What was your thoughts on Willow versus Lena Cross?
I enjoyed that we get to see that power that Lena brings, just like Willow. Willow was known for being the powerhouse before the taller women came in, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that speaks volumes to how she presents herself. I was saying a couple episodes ago how we have a wrestler, is it Marina Shafir or Tekla? Even Tony Storm, they present themselves as taller women. So I forget that they are actually a lot shorter than they are because we have a friend who presents herself as 5'7", she's like 5'3". I think it's like that.
Well, yeah, they just
Like, you can
they
come
wrestle
off
bigger.
taller.
It's called wrestling, but yeah, no, it's,
Yeah, like Willow's able to do
you're
that.
probably thinking like a Megan Bain. She wrestles a lot taller because when Lena Cross gets next to Megan Bain, you can see the height difference.
That's true. So I think it's really cool to see Willow taking on someone that has that same exact kind of structure that she has, and they're colliding. I don't know. I'm really saddened that Lena didn't get the win, but also it set everything up for the future.
I mean, I feel like that would have been
And it's too soon.
Yeah, I don't think you can put the TBS title on Lena right now. I think, she's only a handful of matches in the company, and I think she already looked really good in this match. She really showed off her wrestling skills. A lot of people were surprised, and we kind of said it on the pre-show, and we said it before too. We saw her in DPW, so go check out Lena Cross versus Danny Luna. It's a great match recommendation I can throw out there from Deadlock Pro Wrestling. It'll show you her style. And yeah, she's got to learn TV. She's got to learn, more AEW. That's going to come with growth. And like Emily said, she's going to start wrestling bigger than she already is, kind of being that larger than life wrestler, that force. Her and Megan Bain together is kind of like a modern day, like super towers. I can't remember the mega. I can't remember what they're called. I apologize. I'm sure somebody will correct me in the comment. But like the two tall
Divine
badass
Dominion.
Divided.
I thought it was Divine Dominion.
Divine Dominion, not divided. I thought you said divided. My brain just went to see. That's
I
what
don't do
happens when I'm
math.
lack of sleep because I also had to get up early to secure some tickets. So
The only math I do is counting tips.
I do Steiner math apparently, but that's okay. But again, love the match. I love that they made Lena showcase and she basically destroyed Willow's arm. It was great storytelling. I thought it was fun. And again, the post-match beatdown kind of helped add why the pre-show mattered because this match and the next match bled into the main show perfectly. The next match was absolutely fun. 21-man battle royal.
You almost had your bald battle royale.
I almost did have my bald battle royal. There was so many bald men in this battle royal that I was just like, it's there. It's there. Especially Leo Rush. Newly bald Leo Rush kind of looking like something out of Lord of the Rings there.
So as they're like entering these people, we're noticing that they're not coming into the ring. As everyone's being announced, they're kind of just like gathering around the outside. And I was like, wait, are they all going to get in at the same time? Because I kind of like that, but then there's no surprises.
I mean, there were a couple surprises.
There were.
You had Dalton Castle hiding under the desk at one point, making a surprise appearance late. You had a bus come into the arena and it came into focus, and you realize Jack Perry's scapegoat bus was no longer the scapegoat bus. It was the Jurassic Express. With who driving? Who did you
And I was so excited. I could not believe that we got to see Luchasaurus. Even with his injury, he still got to make his appearance, which I love.
And he was at the scrum, and he was with him after, saying he's gonna like drive him around to his title defenses. Spoiler: Jack Perry would win the national title in Los Angeles, the same venue he saw SummerSlam with his dad, Luke Perry, and he had to celebrate with his family. It came down to him, Ricochet, and El Clone, bled into the pay-per-view. Him and Ricochet going one-on-one on the outside. Very reminiscent of Orange Cassidy and Swerve when they were fighting on the apron. But this time, the champion did not get the advantage. Jack Perry would get the win. And it was a great moment. Talk about a feel-good moment to open Revolution.
And I think that we should point out we saw a re-debut of Leo Rush. Interesting.
Yeah, I said something out of Lord of the Rings. I mentioned it.
Yes. So
His
they were
black
talking
card
about
gimmick.
how like somebody was under the commentary table, and we're like, what? What do they mean they don't recognize the person? And then all of a sudden, this like, again, another Baldy is in the ring, and it's Leo Rush. These awesome contacts. He looks completely transformed. I don't know where Action Andretti is, but I think Crew broke up. I think Leo Rush ate him.
Leo, he's definitely going to his Black Heart New Japan gimmick, where he almost becomes like a version of a demon. I really enjoy it. I thought it was creepy. I think it's going to take a little while for the aesthetics to get over because if you look on Twitter, a lot of people were comparing him to a Lord of the Rings character.
Creepy, but
The way he moved, that was
The
cool.
fans were not the only ones that said it.
No,
It
no,
does
no.
not help that the commentary desk also said that he looked like Gollum.
Well, I'm not making. I'm just saying what they said. I'm glad you put that because I'm not making fun.
Yeah,
I was
it
saying,
wasn't us. It was commentary.
I liked how cool he moved in the ring though. Like he was like almost like taking his hands and feet and he was like kicking like leapfrogging. And he was staying low to the ground. He was swinging through the ropes. He just looked incredible.
I thought it was almost like Skinwalker reminiscent. I kind of really
Ooh,
enjoyed
don't put
that
that
demonic,
out there. That's creepy.
like, but that's what he was going for.
I don't want to talk. Ooh, those are creepy. He was very creepy.
We do not live close enough to the Appalachian. Just saying.
Yeah, now that's in the universe. But anyway, that so isn't Leo Rush. And fun fact, when they were doing some promos of Ricochet backstage, talking about how he was pissed off. And he also mentioned being pissed off at Freddie and Jeff Dye for kind of getting involved. It wasn't much, but a little bit. In the background, Leo Rush was lurking, staring at Ricochet. So what's going on? We'll have to definitely tune in. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with Ricochet. Is this a whole new gimmick change? Is it just going to be pay-per-views? It'll be interesting.
And Jack Perry said that he is going on a national tour. So I
Multiple
can't wait
promotions.
to see where he goes next.
I could see him going up to the Pacific Northwest and hitting some of those indies. Maybe he lets Steve Borden get a title when they go up and do some of those evolve and those not evolve, but
Take it to MLW.
yeah, maybe
MPW. Wait.
Maple Leaf.
Yeah,
yes.
Maple Leaf, whatever that one is.
You go to
The
MLW
M's.
too. They're coming to Charleston in May. They come to MLW. Now the show would open with Young Bucks FTR 5. First and foremost, there was so much pageantry. The way they had the Bucks have because of their attacks on the family and how it was personal, they were in LA. They had this whole montage of how family was everything. Their kids pumping them up. They came out with all their kids and their family all
Somebody
dressed
started
in
cutting
matching gear.
onions.
It was great. They came out in Lakers gear. And then you had FTR. They came out in Boston Celtics gear, just like 2020. It was great. So you had the Celtics versus LA at the Staples Center. Boston, LA. If you don't know that basketball rivalry, it's pretty much the 70s, the 80s, and the 2000s. It's a historic rivalry. I just love that the heels were Boston in LA. It works great. I absolutely love the match. Arguably, probably the best match between the Bucks and FTR that I've seen. I thought there was a lot of great storytelling, a lot of friggin' blood. So let me ask you before I go to some of my more thoughts. Holy crap, did Nick Jackson, was he gushing?
So I don't know if we were on a delay or what, but we would be like texting with Jeff and Rachel and then like watching and talking as we go. And we would say something and then commentary would be talking about it. And at one point I was like, oh my God, Nick's face. And then commentary goes, Nick just hit his face off the desk.
I think you had that precognition. I think you recognized it, and they're like, Emily recognized it. We need to know. But yeah, it was funny. They said he hit the corner, and it was a gusher.
It was like right around here, so that's definitely gonna bleed a lot. And then FTR also, Dax got nailed in the head from the ring post, I believe. And he was gushing. So I'm glad it wasn't just one of them, especially poor Nick's kids. Like, that's a lot of trauma for your nieces and nephews.
I also liked,
children.
though, when they went over to their kids and he was pumping up Matt. His youngest son was pumping him up, and he was like, come on, Dad, you can do this. You can do this. It was such a great moment, and they told such a good story. Malachi got involved just like we thought. He didn't get in the ring or anything. Papa Buck was saying words.
Stokely was saved from the family.
Stokely, he stood up, though. He stood up. That son of a bitch stood up. There would unfortunately be a distraction. It would cause enough divisiveness. FTR would get the Avalanche Shatter Machine, pick up the wins, and I couldn't believe it. FTR retains. However, you think you know me. Cope and Cage come back. They attack FTR. They hold up the titles. They look at the top of the ramp and they say, "We're going to take what you're basically going to take what's most meaningful to you. We're going to take everything from you." But then they turned to the Young Bucks. A little bit of foreshadowing.
I think so. I'm so excited to see what's to come. Such a great match.
No, and it didn't matter who wins because legacy is involved, and now it's setting up potential. What I was going to say, a little bit of foreshadowing, because are we talking Young Bucks versus FTR versus Cope and Cage at All In a tables, ladders, and chair type match? Are we going to get a match, definitive title match between the three? Because it seemed like they were setting up the future of not only the Bucks aren't done with FTR, but neither is Cope and Cage, because they came back for revenge. That's even what the Titantron said, or the screen said. And we after this match, we'd move right into the next one. We'd have Marina versus Toni Storm. I want to first and foremost give a huge shout out to Marina because she really has improved a lot in the ring. This match with Toni was probably one of her best matches that she's had, and I can see why Toni and EW have put the faith in her to kind of go out there on her own and go out there and be with someone like a Toni Storm, be with a top level talent and show she belongs. And she was a badass. She was dominating Toni for a lot of this match. I mean, there was one point where she took 2 hip attacks and a Storm Zero and kicked out. You had Toni and Mother's Milk at one point. She was biting her boob to get out of it. And Toni had to kind of do a win with a big package. She rolled out and she was shocked. And before we get to the thing that happens after, that's not as important. I want to point out that I really enjoyed this match. And I want to get, what are your perspective? What's your thoughts on the Toni Storm Marina Shafir match?
So first of all, when Toni came out and she looked like a circus tent in the most beautiful way, her gear like shifted black to red. I thought that was kind of cool. It was like velvety maybe. I don't know. But I thought that was really cool. She had the stripes. It was like she went back to her bathing suit styled gear.
Her old school gear.
And she looked reminiscent of a clown, but not a mime. I think that Toni's whole aesthetic was very nice looking, and I really enjoyed that.
Cinema-esque clown, like when you go into the antique shops and you see those like
the
porcelain clowns, that's what it reminded me of.
And I think you had said that Marina called her a clown,
Make me laugh, clown.
This was part of that, and I think that was really cool. She definitely it gave old school wrestling as far as the movie that we saw Toni Storm in. It gave very much. I just forget the name of the movie right now. But it gave, like, that aesthetic, and I really enjoyed seeing that because it was, like, something from the 70s or 80s that you would see that you wouldn't normally get to see 2 women
like a
put on a
Groucho
match
Marx
like that.
like a Groucho Marx kind of movie. I get
like,
it.
Again, like a circus act.
Yeah, but not so much circus. I get what you're saying.
But in a beautiful way, like artful.
No, I agree, and I think it was done well, and I think Toni did a good job. I'm shocked that she won. I really thought they'd give Marina to kind of keep that heel run going. They're actually going to have a rematch on Dynamite, a no-holds-barred match, as announced in the press conference. And obviously, to touch on the elephant in the room here, there was a unfortunate debut, or should I say return, because she was on Ring of Honor with Marina against Billy Starks and Athena before. But Ronda Rousey, for some reason, decided to make an appearance and back up Marina. Toni has confirmed she's not all elite, but she's there as backup. Again, she has her fight with Gina Carano coming up for the Netflix promotion, with the Paul Brothers promotion. We're just going to both say this thing. Not a fan of it. That's what took me down to a 9.5. That's what took her down to a 9.75. We're just going to say we're going to be like Thumper. If we have nothing nice to say, won't say anything else. So let's move on to Mox versus Takeshita.
I'll put one thing. So I think that when I've never been a fan of hers, but I do want to say that when she came into the WWE, a lot more eyes came onto the company as far as the women's division is concerned. So I do want to give a little bit of credit to that, but it wasn't just her. She wasn't the star of the women's division then. And it wasn't just about her. And same thing now.
She can fool me what she thinks it is. Sorry.
She may think it, but again, we're going to attempt to be positive here. So I think that with everything that she has going on with the MMA fight coming up with Gina, I think that this is a great opportunity for us to kind of get more eyes on the women's division and bring more into it, especially where she's going to be working here and there with Marina Shafir and the Death Riders with Jon Moxley. I think that this could be very good, and I just want to leave it at, I think that this is going to be something good despite
I'll put a
despite
since
that.
you were able to swallow it. I'll put a little bit of a positive spin. I'm going to first and foremost say I do not like her as a person.
Same.
She's talented. I'm not going to deny that. However, I understand because TMZ picked up the article of her debuting last night. So mainstream attention, unfortunately, sometimes bad publicity is still publicity. It is what it is. But on a positive note, I want to move on to Mox Takeshita.
We can look at it the same way we look at Logan Paul. Great in the ring.
Meh. So anyway, Mox Takeshita. Really enjoyed this match. I shocked at the outcome again. Mox would choke out Takeshita, but Takeshita would give it his all. Mox is one of the first people to kick out of the Raging Fire. They went back and forth. Mox truly did it on his own. And Takeshita, he's changing. He's changing. He almost addressed Moxley. He didn't just walk away. He's starting to get that slow face, baby face change of heart. So maybe he just needs to fully redeem himself before he wins gold. It seems like it told that story of, you know what, you still haven't righted all your wrongs yet, but you're almost there, Takeshita. So what did you think of this match?
So I could not believe the storytelling that was involved with this. I think that the Death Riders are moving and progressing faster than we had actually thought they would, but also methodically. So I think it's really cool to watch the breakdown happening. We weren't sure, like you saw the guys in the back looking at each other like, what the fuck is he doing with Takeshita?
Yeah, when they circled the ring and they kind of were like, I was like, is this it? Is this the heel turn? Because it was almost like they were like pissed that he was acknowledging. Because remember at Grand Slam, he tried to acknowledge Takeshita. Takeshita attacked him. And then he kind of got his blows back. He attacked Takeshita. This was, okay, he's finally shown respect, but then the Death Riders were like, So they're still planting those seeds of, are the Death Riders truly with Moxley, or is there something else?
And I think the reason that we're expecting it to be so fast is because when they turned their back on Brian, it was quick. It was very not thought
Traumatic.
out. It was
It was thought out. It was just traumatic.
Yeah, and I think that it was just so fast that we didn't anticipate it, and I think that's why we're like, well, why haven't they kicked Moxley out yet? And I think that's just, we're hanging on.
We're waiting. There's something.
We're
It's like,
looming.
I'll say this. The best part of AEW, and one of the best that they do better than any other wrestling company in the world, is plant breadcrumbs and reward people for paying attention. I mean, look all the way back when CM Punk was about to debut. You had Kenny Omega wearing a Cookie Monster t-shirt for CM Punk. They always plant little breadcrumbs. Britt Baker talking about being the boss, your boss time. They always plant little breadcrumbs, when they were chanting, yes, yes, in the crowd. And CM Punk's like, that's some other guy's shtick. Like, they always will reward either subtle or little things, and they've been planting the seeds of Daniel Garcia's facial expressions.
I will not forgive him for ruining that, by the way. That's someone else's thing, and you'll have to wait a little longer for that.
It is, well, it is what it is. I was trying to say that they're good with their foreshadowing, and when you have Garcia and you have Yuta and you have all of them kind of like giving, I mean, I can't say Marina gives dirty look because she always has that stoic look anyway. So it's like,
Resting bitch face.
But when Daniel Garcia is kind of giving you like, it reminds me of that like meme, the SpongeBob
were
side
like-
eye meme. Yeah, like disgusted. So stay tuned because there's definitely something happening. But I think what blew this out of the water was after the match, we see this little vignette and it's this pale green light and it's a laboratory and it reminded me a lot of Dragon Ball Z when he's getting revived and all of a sudden you see Will Ospreay's face and then you basically see him come back to life. You see the neck x-ray, the lights go up, they come back on, nothing really happens, and then bum 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 bum. Ospreay makes his return. Holy shit. You think he's just coming back, but no. He comes back, he takes his shirt off, he goes in the ring, he's outnumbered. He's taking on every Death Rider.
I was like, who's going to come out? He didn't
no
need
one.
anybody.
He did it by himself. He did a springboard, taking them both out. At one point, he's doing a corkscrew to that side. So whoever told Ospreay, like, hey, you're cleared. He was like, all right, bet, I'm cleared. He went out like 150 miles an hour, took every single out, and basically let it be known that he's coming after Moxley for what he did to him at Forbidden Door. He remembers getting taken out, getting his neck taken out. He hasn't forgiven. Even the announcers say Moxley's got some sins to atone for.
Yeah. I'm very much excited for this. And again, we had mentioned that we thought Ospreay would be coming back because of little things happening with All In being announced for ticket sales, like little bits and pieces.
All the vignettes that, again, paying attention, all the vignettes saying,
yeah,
hey, he's healing, he's talking about AEW. They wouldn't play those vignettes if he wasn't coming back soon. So it was kind of like, again, they were giving you all these breadcrumbs. You just kind of had to sort through them and figure it out.
And also, if you're listening to this, did you get your All-In tickets yet?
Did you get your Red Pro tickets yet?
Did you buy your flights?
I mean, because all I got to say is, if you listen to this, Cruising with Kayfabe, this August will be all in, baby, because
we're going abroad.
We're going abroad. First time over the pond. We're going to be at Wembley. And Ospreay's back.
We're bringing our co-hosts, Jeff and Rachel, along for the ride.
So excited. And watching this pay-per-view, I think that's why I was extra like, ooh, because Ospreay came back and just AEW it's starting to feel like it's whole again. Like, let's be real. It's been since July that he's been out. So it's been a long time since we've seen Ospreay. It's been 8+ months since he's been in the ring, and he's finally back. And he's just, you feel like they're getting all their top guys back. They're getting everyone back. And look how loaded this pay per view was without having him wrestle, without having Omega wrestle. And it's wild to see they had this kind of pay per view. And we go into the next match, such an emotional high. And you called it in the pre-show. The first thing you see is Harley backstage with a doctor, and poor Willow's getting attended to.
And I love that Willow's sitting there like defeated but not giving up. She is very defeated, very sore. She is not looking forward to going out there because I think she knew the assignment. She unfortunately
I'm a
knew
double
that
champ.
she was
I gotta
going
do this.
to yeah, and she knew she was going to let Harley down. And I think Harley knew she was going to be let down. And I think going out to the ring, they knew what was coming, but they tried.
They went out,
and that matters.
And they went out like fighting champs. And I will say, squashes and quick matches are not always my thing, but they did this one perfectly.
I didn't think it was that much of a squash.
I mean, in terms of like actual how it played out, I would say it is like maybe technically. So I would say like a shorter match, like a quicker match. I like how they did it, where they connected the pre-show, where Willow getting her shoulder worked on, getting beat down, like you said, being a medical, coming out, even looking like I'm in pain, but I got to do this for my partner. I got to do this for Harley. And Lena and Megan would instantly take Willow out, and they, just like you and Jeff and Rachel talked about, they isolated Harley, and poor Harley she just got her ass whooped, and like from here, from the East Coast to the West Coast, Harley just got destroyed, and it was just eventually too much for both of them, and we'd have new champions. We'd have Megan Bayne and Cross hold up the titles just like we said they would, and they had their first backstage promo, and they didn't say a word. They just took their titles and they walked out of the Staples Center. Like, if you want to talk about two women who just made a fucking statement in the tag division, good luck.
I think that's going to be something great with Penelope, is that she can be their mouthpiece and keep them stoic, keep them like a statue. I love this. I really, really mean it when I tell you this is the division I want. This is what I want to see. I want to see not a big divide, but a subtle divide in their
like how
differences. We have
like aesthetics and vibes.
Yeah, we have the bigger women being able to defend and have that bigger vibe going up against people that are high flyers like
a Mina,
and then there's
like a
Lacey
Sheeta.
Lacey Lane, somebody like that.
I
want to see her versus Lena. I want to see High-End and Maya World come back and fight for these.
You have the Renegades when they're held, like you have.
Yes, like there's so many different variations, and I love having just a dominant force involved with it. I think that makes it such a cool aesthetic.
And what's great is now you have this dominant heel women's tag team with the tag titles, so you're going to get some natural babyface teams, kind of like what they did with a Private Party, or what they did with an Acclaimed, or what they did with a Swerve in Our Glory, where maybe they can build up like the Brawling Birds, so they be the mega babyfaces and take them out.
The perfect way to compare this is when we had the Hurt Syndicate holding titles. This is just
that
like
domination, where who's going to beat them, and
like who the fuck's going to do this, and then we're going to see a bunch of matches that we never knew we needed.
And it's great because it keeps Megan strong, keeps Lena strong. Eventually they can go on their singles run, but this also frees up Willow to defend her TBS title. Like you said, Harley, maybe she gets a chance to go for the world title at some point.
And
maybe
keep
she
Penelope.
gets a chance and keep Penelope. Maybe Penelope can get a chance to go after the TBS title as some revenge. You know, we thought it was, and again, Triangle, what did I say in our prediction episode at the very beginning of the year? Triangle of Madness is going to hold all the gold. We still have the Sisters of Sin. We have Tekla. We have so many other people these belts can go to. There's so much they can do, and that's one thing I want to give a shout out to AEW for. This pay-per-view had 4 women's matches, and every single women's title defended, and they did a great job in all 4 women's matches. And it really shows that, especially in International Women's Month, we have some promotions that ran matches and ran cards with not one single woman on it for International Women's Month. You had Tony Khan realizing Revolution, International Women's Month. I have 4 championships. Let's make 4 women's matches. Let's make them mean something. Let's connect the stories. And did a great job.
And I want to point out that we only had one Ring of Honor champion on this match, and it was not a title match. And
Right.
I think that's a big change up compared to the normal. I think we usually see one Ring of Honor title being defended. And I'm not complaining. I actually kind of miss it. I like having Ring of Honor be a little piece of AEW.
And I like that they can use their partnerships like a Stardom, like you said, CMLL or a MLW or a Maple
Yeah.
Leaf Pro or
Like if Takeshita has
New
put that
New
title on the
Japan.
line,
Exactly. I
I think
like
that it's kind of cool to mix and match.
representation of the different companies.
Persephone
Exactly.
could have defended. I wouldn't have been mad.
And I think they did a great job. And again, another one that this blood feud that we knew we needed. Swerve and Brody would be up next, and oh boy, this was who's the most dangerous. Both of them, because you had them ripping the mat off the floor. You had Swerve taking bumps on the concrete. You had Swerve hitting a vertebreaker on Brody on the concrete. You had an exposed turnbuckle. You had Brody just demolishing him. You had crazy Swerve stomps. Just like I said, he had to hit that massive vertebreaker on the concrete to slow him down. You had 3 house calls in order to finally put the big man down. And then they pull out that cinder block, just like I said was coming. That cinder block, Prince Nana's got it set up. And I was even joking with you because I was like, he's in Japan. It's not going to happen. I was like, I hear your battle cry. I was joking, and Emily's just kind of looking like, it's not going to happen. And then the music hits, and she just looks at me, and I was just like, it's happening.
So I just realized while like looking at the notes ahead of this, almost every match to start had somebody come out and re-debut. And I think that that's a lot of fun as well.
It was such a great way to kick the show off.
Yeah, again, they didn't have to wrestle to be a part of it, and I think that's a big thing too with AEW. I'm gonna say it. We were about 2.5 hours into the show, and I realized, has anyone even really talked? I think this is fantastic. I don't think we've heard a promo. I think we've seen nothing but like matches and wrestling, and what a great way to just showcase. Thank you so much for filling our brains with nothing but athletics. And I think that that's the best part of wrestling. That's what I tune in for. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. That's what we're here to watch is wrestling. I'm not here to watch you talk.
And here's the thing. There's a time and a place for all those segments. Yes. But when I'm paying, for a pay-per-view, I want the card loaded. And when you have a roster like AEW with so much talent from top to bottom, they should be featured on a pay-per-view because do you know how much crap I would give them or other people give them if we had a 6-match pay-per-view with all their talent they have? That means people are being left off. And I like that they didn't let people get off the card. They featured them.
And if you did want to know about a promo, they do post them on Instagram and
they're
stuff.
They're video packages now, too.
And they're posting
the things you need
stuff.
To know.
Yeah, they're posting things that aren't going to be on the show. You have to go to their social medias to see those things. So if you like the kayfabe, if you like not seeing stuff like that, you don't have to see it. You can seek it out if you do want to see it, though.
Well, they do integrate it into a lot of the different shows. Like, they'll show stuff on Dynamite. They'll show it. But they do. But that's the best part is if you follow their social medias, like TikTok, Instagram. After you follow us, of course, at Cruising with Kayfabe on all of our socials, you'll see that they'll post those post-match promos, social media exclusive, like we talked about the Jack Perry. And I want to point out something Emily said on the prediction show without realizing. She called the exact reason why Kenny Omega came back, because Kenny Omega kind of spoiled. He was coming back, again, planting those breadcrumbs. Who said he was the most dangerous? Remember, Swerve said he called himself the most dangerous man, but what did Kenny Omega say?
That Brody was.
And who did he come out to stand hand in hand with to end that match?
Yep. And I want to point out that Brody has a lot of the roster backing him up, and I think that...
Did you say barking him up?
Ew. I would bark up that tree, but no.
And I would just say,
Scary.
Brody King has had more singles matches now than his former stable leader. Just want to point that out. And he's been phenomenal in all of them. And I think it really goes to show when you have the right story and the right push. And they realize Brody's getting over organically. Push him to the moon. This loss isn't going to hurt him. He still has a feud built in with Swerve. He has Kenny going after Swerve. He has other directions going. I think they did a good job of, he had to eat the pin against Swerve, but it makes Swerve look more dangerous again, but also keep Brody he's still going to be a white-hot babyface, and I think they did a good job of that, and I'm really excited to see his next direction.
I think that we could also see a gimmick match between the two of them, which wouldn't be that bad.
It's gonna be like a dog collar or something with a chain, because he broke the chain, they brought the chain, it's something or something.
It's
I agree.
Be sadistic.
They're teasing it. Oh, it's gonna be gnarly for sure. Probably not as gnarly as this Tekla Statlander match, because I thought these two women went out there. It's like they had a chip on their shoulder. I don't know what it was, but they wrestled their ass off. It was a 2 out of 3 falls match. It starts off normal wrestling. Tekla gets the advantage. Statlander starts to power back, and Tekla realizes it. So when she gets a pin, she holds the rope to get the first fall. Then Statlander just goes mental, goes berserk, and is not going to let a second fall happen. Starts bashing her head off the barricades, like just ragdolling her and just destroying her on the outside. She puts her inside. She counters the Black Widow into a Saturday night, or they said Sunday Night Fever. Gets the second. So now it's sudden death. But now you have Tekla starting to fight back, and she gets the referee involved. She takes the referee's belt off when he's unconscious. Statlander gets it. She starts beating the living hell out of Tekla. But then the referee comes to, and he sees the belt, and that's just enough distraction with the Sisters of Sin. And Tekla retains. And I thought, normally when they overbook matches, when they have this much interference, you're like, oh, come on. I think they did it perfectly with her heel character. The way she took the ref out, she fucking knocked that guy out. She wasn't just like, look over there, took his belt. Like, she knocked him out to take his belt. Statlander looked strong even in defeat. Tekla looked amazing in the ring. Both the great way to blow this match off. And Tekla gets another successful defense, and she looks really good doing it. And I'm excited to see Tekla's future.
So you talked about the match, so there's not much left to talk about for that. I'm going to talk about the press conference. Yeah. I think that if you've heard Tekla's interview with Chris Jericho, you know that she was a lead singer for a punk death band.
Yeah, it's like punk metal or something. Yeah, it's a very
dark,
hardcore band. It's great.
Hardcore.
It's great. Look it up.
So I think that a lot of what she brings to the table as far as her character work is a badass, egotistical, which she should be, incredible female presence, and I love it. And she's disgusting. She spits. She doesn't care what you think about her. She doesn't care about Chris Statlander, who she literally put in the media scrum. She lifted up and showed the mark she had, and she said, why do I feel bad for her? Look what she did to me.
I also like when she goes, also Statlander, you broke my favorite nail. She was like, you broke my favorite nail, and I'm not going to forget that. Like, that arrogance you're talking about, I loved it too. I'm glad you brought the press conference, because her energy was so different and in a good way. And the way someone who had a size disadvantage against Statlander, she used her quickness, the spears, the multiple curb stomps, the cheating, the interference. It was great. Again, I love that Tekla's just getting this monstrous push because, again, like we've said the entire time, personally, we think that babyfaces are better chasing champion because it's such a wrestling trope, but Tekla's such that good. Like, who's going to dethrone her? You're going to want to see the next person go after her.
And part of the media that I love watching is how Tony Khan interacts with this talent, because you hear the talent talk so highly of working for Tony, and then to just see Tekla, it was just such arrogance in a great way.
And
that
Tony's
Tony
just trying
didn't know what to do. Tony was like, yep.
He had a hell of a press conference. We'll get to another one after. He had a hell of a press conference with some of the characters he had.
Yeah. He had a lot of heels to deal with, and we haven't seen that since All In a couple years ago. So we're going to leave it at that. MJF eating pickles. I think that's the last time he dealt with a heel work that intense. And I think her intensity is so intimidating.
It is.
Her and Marina are going to have fantastic feuds with that intimidation.
And I even think, imagine Tekla against someone like a Tony Storm, or again Queen Aminata, like someone like that. We're gonna have some great stories, and
it's time to move past Chris and on to the future.
And that's it. And maybe Chris can try to go for a DBS championship against her old friend Willow. Again, there's so many places they can go, and they did a great job. And something I wasn't expecting was Jet Speed and Mystico defeating the Don Callis family. First and foremost, coming out in custom gear. All three of them matching Mystico and Kevin Knight and Speedball, each having their own Mystico mask. The gold, the beautiful white, coming out to Mystico's song. The crowd serenading him. And then you have, obviously, Aussie Open and Okada. A great match. So fast-paced. So much action. Mark Davis just doing moves that you didn't think a man his size could do.
Dunkzilla. Commentary was saying it and everything.
Destroying everyone. Okada being cocky and then getting his finger bit. Kyle Fletcher having chemistry with every fucking person in that ring. And I just absolutely love the chemistry. And then they get the win. And then they're happy. And we think, okay, it can't get much better than this. And all of a sudden you see the Tron. Mystico is all elite. And it was confirmed that Mystico has signed a dual contract with CMLL and AEW. So now we have Persephone, Heshiero, Mascara and Mystico, for some of the best luchadors in the world, dual contracted. Talk about an amazing thing for that partnership between AEW CML. Representation, they're going to do equal time with both companies. And Mystico, someone who didn't get a fair shake for his 3 years in WWE Sin Cara, kind of got pushed to the side, gets that redemption after almost a decade of busting his ass in Mexico, basically being the reason that Mexico was selling their matches out for almost a year straight, Wrestle of the Year last year candidate, gets that graphic, gets that moment in LA in a crowd that loves him and knows him. Ugh, more onions were being cut.
Yeah, no, we watched the match again today with Cam. I think that this match, again, the matching masks, having all of that, just, it was such a feel-good moment, and that's what I'm here for. Give me every piece of that.
And
yeah,
we always talk about wrestling being a buffet, and the best part is we talked when we were watching this last night. Like, I love that. Yes, there can be sports entertainment, there can be feel good moments, there can be big pops, there can be returns, debuts, promos. AEW's, it feels like they're figuring out a good vibe, at least for us, of when to sprinkle in. So it's not, okay, let me just do 10 feel good moments or 10 this. I like that we're getting a good variety. So we had the Bucks feel good moment, but they didn't win the title. But then we have them winning the title and him becoming all elite. And it was such a great emotional roller coaster, the way they built this up, especially knowing the end of the night we were going to get a death match. So, like, you had to really keep these emotions at a peak. And I think they did a great job. And then after this match, our adrenals are going 100 miles an hour. They're like, how about Andrade versus Bandito?
which we already
Yes,
knew was going to be
please.
match of the damn night because it's Bandito and Andrade who's been on fire. Bandito has been on fire. Both these men just lit this place up. Amazing. Great chemistry. And a little comedy. Who doesn't want that in their wrestling?
It was the perfect mix of everything. You have Andrade getting not one, but two selfies with two different women. You have Bandito saying, I'll strip with you. Both of them stripping.
So I want to point out my poor friend Lexi deals with my shenanigans at work after wrestling events. She is always the first person I see the next day, and she lets me word vomit everything. And I said, I just want to show you that it's not just the women that are having their hair done now for wrestling. Look at this. He had slut strands and everything.
Loved
it.
Andrade's hair.
Eight. Loved it.
She, like,
8.
Listen, I'll be transparent for her. When she first saw Andrade in AEW, when he had his first one, she wasn't the biggest fan. She didn't really understand the hype. And I said, listen, NXT Andrade was on another level. And she was like, I like his matches.
And then he left.
And she was like, okay. And then she watched him WWE. She's like, okay, he's with Ray Phoenix. I like him. But I don't think she ever really fully appreciated the aura of Andrade. This demon run that he's come back with, where he's had match of the year after match of the year, Andrade, I'm going to say, I said it on a page earlier, Andrade is having a Wrestle of the Year campaign already. So you have last year, Bandito, who had a Wrestle of the Year campaign, versus Andrade. So think about that. That's 3 people in a row. We've talked about having Wrestle of the Year campaigns, back-to-back matches in AEW. Andrade doing that fake-out kick before he hits a back-spinning elbow. You have Bandito doing a 21-plex where Andrade's laying down on his belly on the mat, so he deadlifts him to do a 21-plex. You have crazy spots going to the outside. You have basically an aura off going on. You have Don Callis on commentary talking about paying to take his pants off and all kinds of other crazy shenanigans. It was just so entertaining. It was my match of the night. Honestly, probably my match of the year so far because that match was fucking incredible.
Well, I have to point out, the reason I was going there on poor Lexi was because I showed her the video of his hair and didn't realize it was going to be his strip tease.
You showed her the strip tease video.
I was horrified because I'm like, I promise this is not the reason I watch wrestling, but this is why I watch wrestling.
It's the reason she watched it. No, I'm just kidding.
Like, if you heard our pre-show, I prefer trunks, shorts, but
versus
the Speedo. But this was just so fun, and I think that's what I like about what Andrade's bringing is that he's like my Orange Cassidy right now. He's giving me comedy, but he's also giving me fantastic matches and storytelling.
He's giving you like
everything.
He's being entertaining in every single way.
He's my buffet.
But that's the thing. I think we're getting that NXT Andrade where he's so full of himself. It's like he's got his like mojo back, and I love it, and I'm so happy. And again, now he's probably gonna go after, the world champion, who we'll get to in a second. He's probably going to go with the world champion at Dynasty. He's just been on a tear, and I'm here for it. And before we get to the world main event, we have one more match for the main event. It was the War Dogs, aka the Dogs, versus Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, and Roderick Strong. We said on the prediction show that it was a tornado. It was just going to be chaos. Holy shit, it was chaos. It was hard to keep up at some points because you had all 6 men all around the ring, and poor Darby gets his necklace chained and tied up to the ring post till Orange can save him. Then he saves him, and it's like he gets shot out of a cannon. He's just ping pong balling all around the ring, and then the skateboard to Gabe Kidd's back. Oh.
I mean, he's lucky there weren't tacks in it. So
You know what's going to happen.
the second that Darby gets tied up, I said, wait a minute, he's had that on since before his debut in AEW. That thing doesn't come off.
Oh, yeah, that necklace, yeah.
Yeah, that's like
I think he's been wearing that since we've seen him on the indies. I agree.
90% certain they have like permanent jewelry bracelets. I'm 90% certain that that's a permanent, like welded in place like chain.
Like,
I don't think
forever
that,
necklace?
Yeah, like that's a permanent necklace. I don't think that that comes off. Like if you know the permanent jewelry I'm talking about, then you understand this. But that's not going to come off. So knowing this, I'm thinking that's sadistic and that is so smart. And I think we're seeing the Dogs coming out and they're just being very methodical, but they're also
so aggressive.
bosses.
They were so aggressive. I mean, they dominated this match for a good 3/4 of this match. You know, they were smart. They basically tied up Darby and they took out Roderick. I mean, and they took out Orange. Poor Orange had to go up all 3 of them. I just love he's just slapping them, and David Finlay's like, "Come on, bring it!" And just they were so entertaining in this match together. And then I know a lot of people were upset that Orange Cassidy, Darby, and Roderick won. They wanted the Dogs to win. But I think we're forgetting the Dogs won their TV debut. It's not over. And I think that's what I think people think one loss means, oh, it's over, it's done. There's more to this because even at the press conference, Gabe Kidd we talked about poor Tony. He was going off on New Japan, and Tony's like, I don't know what's going on.
Again, this man hasn't dealt with that since MJF and the Pickles.
And he challenged Darby, and it was accepted a coffin match this Wednesday on Dynamite. Which, fun fact, there's been 7 coffin matches in AEW history. Darby's been every single one, and he's 4-2. So will he go 4-3, or will he go 5-2? So, you know, Darby's lost the last 2 coffin matches, but he's been in every single one, so he has the experience.
And I'm disappointed, but I'm thankful. There was 0 Kyle O'Reilly, no Steve Borden. Did we see anybody?
No.
Which I'm not upset about because
they kept it clean.
It was. And that's something that we don't see often with the Death Riders. And I think that seeing that with the War Dogs now, Gabe Kidd has transitioned. And I think that this is going to be great.
You can tell that it's not just Clark Connors who they see as the top guy. It's not just Dave Finlay. It's, you know, there's 3. But you can see right now that at this moment, it's Gabe Kidd. And think about Gabe Kidd, Kenny Omega last January having a crazy match at Wrestle Dynasty. Now he's in here causing havoc. No pun intended, the dog is loose.
I think that this is also another reason that people were confused about Orange, Darby, and Roderick teaming up. But that's why. They're 3 singles competitors going against a trios of 3 singles competitors. Mm-hmm. Just because they're trios doesn't mean they're not also a faction. And I think that's the difference. Like,
no, it makes sense. It's the dynamic.
Huge difference. And I could see both teams holding trios titles, but I don't want to see Darby, Orange, and Roderick holding trios titles. Whereas I would love to see
the Dogs holding
the trios titles.
And here's the other thing: you have the Rascals in the mix, so there's other trios in this mix
that are also singles
I think
or tag.
It seems like the trios, and we've been saying this for a while. My biggest complaint for about 2 years is the trios divisions, the trios titles kind of felt stale. It seems like they're addressing that and they're working with that. And this match last night showed that. And there was a little bit of more storytelling that we didn't really mention. 2 big points at the press conference. 1, we're getting Continental Collision jackets for everyone, which is cool. 2, Roderick Strong confirms he's going to go be a tag team with Orange Cassidy going forward. And he said, listen, my intensity and his awkwardness, we fit together. Where does that leave Kyle O'Reilly? Because, I mean, I know he's out right now he has a neck issue right now, and I know he's had his arm that he was getting looked at. I know he came back in December for the Continental Classic to wish Roddy well, because he was supposed to be in it. So it seems like they're still again, more of those stories are kind of teasing. So I think stay tuned for that one, because there's definitely something to that.
And I also think that this is just going to be another way to transition the trios titles, because I want to point out we call them the women's tag team titles, the men's tag team titles, but there was 0 intergender matches on this entire pay-per-view, and I'm kind of disappointed.
Lucha Underground, the trios titles were all gender. So I think again, it's you've been calling that for a while, and according to reports today, they trademarked Continental Classic Cup. Sounds like there's a trophy coming. So are we getting a women's Continental Classic with a trophy as the prize? It seems like there's a lot of big changes coming this year. I'm excited for it. And one of the big changes is going to be a result of the main event, which was MJF versus Hangman, Texas Death, 45 minutes of pure bloody violence, brilliance. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it, the best Texas Death match they've done. I didn't think they were going to keep being able to one-up but they do it every time. From the window pane that MJF broke to put the glass in and get dragged across, all the crazy spots, the syringe, the Harry Potter moment where they go through the soundboard. You have Hangman dog walking MJF back to the ring because he put the dog collar on. And what I love the subtle storytelling is he puts the dog collar on from Revolution with CM Punk. And you just hear MJF go, shit, not again. Like he had flashbacks. You had the going through the table. You had a vertebrae going through, not vertebrae, excuse me, Deadeye going through the table. And then Hangman's on top. There's a barbed wire table, and MJF throws him off. And then, unfortunately, Hangman, he just wasn't enough. He tried. He threw so many buckshots. He did everything he could to hurt Maxwell, but it was his own arrogance that got him because he chained himself up to Max. He was taunting the crowd a little bit. He's like, I got this. Get ready to hit that final buckshot. MJF kicks him off, and he chokes him out, and Hangman passes out. And because he passed out, he loses. MJF would close the show winning. Hangman gets stretched out, and he can no longer challenge for the AEW World title ever again, which, holy shit, what an ending.
And Tony Khan did say that was a verbal agreement. So, what does that mean?
Interesting. You noticed that too? He said it twice.
But also, now there's proof because it was a verbal agreement.
And I feel like, listen, he's a cowboy, okay? Cowboys like gambling. He gambled with a stipulation. We have a pay-per-view called Double or Nothing, for Christ's sakes. Like, there's still ways this can happen.
What if he's like, if I get my contendership match, then I can challenge for it?
Or what if Swerve motivates him? What if Swerve said, listen, man, you failed. Remember I told you I don't regret a single fucking thing I did.
We've only ever really seen Hangman Adam Page. Could he debut a new persona if Hangman cannot go for this title? Could a new
comes in like a mask gimmick? That'd be interesting.
I don't know if I want a mask. I'm just saying,
being
like,
funny. No, I was being funny.
He shaves his head. We get another baldy to the roster.
Then I'm getting my bald battle royal, okay, with special guest referee. How about this special guest referee? Shout out to my man Bald Bro. I think that would be funny. He's someone who embraces the bald and loves the bald. I think this match is brilliant. What a wait! Happy birthday to MJF. Him getting a birthday card stapled to his pec. The crowd singing happy birthday. Again, this crowd was electric. When they were panning, I mean, sometimes a little too much, but when they were panning in the crowd during some of the gruesome moments, and there was one guy, he's gonna live in infamy. He was shook the entire night, and just
shout out to the cameramen. I think that there was such great production going on. You saw crowd reaction. When
they're under the barbed wire waiting for that shot.
Yes, I think that every little detail that went into shooting this pay-per-view was very well done. I was very impressed by the camera angles. I think that the production value of AEW has transformed so much from like 2-3 years ago to now, and it was good then.
Fun fact, they debuted 8K cameras there. That's probably why you noticed they debuted higher resolution cameras.
Oh.
This was also the first pay-per-view of the My AEW app, which I will say we used it. There was some hiccups in the beginning, but I think that was our internet more than anything.
Yeah.
But the quality was great. The sound was great. I think, again, their production stepped up. Now they have that. I think you hit it nail on the head. They're starting to fix the subtle nuances. Their logo now says All Elite Wrestling again. Doesn't just say AEW.
And it's like...
It's 3D
shifted.
gold.
Yes, it's like 3D. It's shifted. They changed a lot of great things. And last little piece of the Texas Death Match I forgot about. We had said, what could the stipulations be? And I said, could I see my exploding barbed wire death match again?
And you got exploding.
And I got a little piece of that.
You got barbed wire and explosion, just not together.
And I think that was so well done. And I know it's going to be difficult to try this again. Try it on Ring of Honor, maybe. I just really want to see them try for this again. I know
No,
it
you
bit
can,
them in
you,
the ass.
I don't think you can do that in Ring of Honor. I think there could be you can do it with someone on the main roster, build it up. You can get someone
Jared,
crazy.
get Jared. That's all you need.
Not even that. Get someone crazy. Get someone crazy. You know,
Darby.
Moxley would love to do it again. Maybe get Moxley and Darby. You know, maybe somehow they have that one last match. There's so many ways they can do it. But I think too. I think we should each give our little closing thoughts on this pay-per-view before we wrap up. I want to say I wrote down for me, this was a top tier pay-per-view. I think this is one of the top 10 pay-per-views AEW has done. For me, Revolution 2024, personal bias because we were there, will always be my favorite pay-per-view. This was as good, if not maybe better, than All In 2025, where Hangman went. This was such a good pay-per-view. There wasn't a bad match on the card. The stories flowed, things connected, the matches are great. And besides a certain debut, which we're not going to mention, that kind of knocks some points down again. 9.5. This is probably the highest I've rated pay-per-view in forever. So those are my closing thoughts on Revolution 2026. Emily, what are your closing thoughts on AEW Revolution 2026?
I think that it was fantastic, head to toe. Loved everything that was going on with this. The window pane, there was being dragged across the glass. There's honestly like times where, at no fault of their own, it's my fault because I work at 5 a.m. I tend to like drift off during pay-per-views because, again, I've been awake for so long. This match, every match, I didn't hesitate. I kept my eyes open. I was on
there
the
wasn't
edge
any
of my
lulls,
seat.
is what she's saying.
And I think that that is something huge to point out, is that there wasn't a downtime. I didn't want to get up and go pee. I didn't want to go get a snack.
You didn't want to miss something.
Actually, I don't think I did go get a snack. I think I had dinner, and that was about it during this whole pay-per-view. And that says a lot.
You have to pace yourself from 8 pay-per-views with snacks. If you eat all your snacks at 8 o'clock, you're sleeping by 10.
And again,
not you personally, in general.
I never even bothered getting up. I had my drink next to me. I was good to go. And I can't believe that, like, you know, that doesn't happen for me. I get very ADHD. I start roaming. I was sat.
I will say, when Will Ospreay, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, Will Ospreay said about a year and a half ago, restore the feeling. We want to restore the feeling. And I've said Double or Nothing last year was feeling restored. If you want any more proof that AEW is hot again, like, we've been AEW fans since its inception. And yes, they've had ups and downs. This is probably the hottest AEW's been since the beginning, since that 2021 era, and I'm here for it. You have Dynasty is already going to be shaping up to be stellar. Vancouver. You have Double or Nothing in Queens that's shaping up with these matches to be amazing. All In, which we know because we're going to be there, is going to be amazing. The rest of this year it just seems like Tony and the talent are having fun, and because they're having fun, we're fucking having fun.
I want to know in the comments, what was your favorite match? What was your match of the night? I'm going to put out there, my match of the night was definitely the Texas Death Match. Ooh. And that was because of all the weapons, the nuances, the storytelling, every little piece of it. MJF, you know,
the Joker smile. Oh.
Like, all these little pieces and details into that. And then on the other side of this, the women's match of the night, I'm going to give that to Chris and Tekla.
Hell yeah. All right, if we're going to do men's and women's, I'm going to do my men's match tonight, Andrade and Bandito. Women's, I'm going to also go Chris and Tekla. I thought Chris and Tekla was such a hard-hitting match.
Yes.
Again, like I said, she said 9.75. I say 9.5. I thought it was fantastic. Again, something I'm going to watch again. I'm already looking forward to Dynasty. I'm already looking forward to Wednesday night. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe our page. Leave us a 5-star frog splash of a review. It really helps us out. Help us keep creating this content for you. We have another bonus episode coming up for you real soon. Stay tuned. Emily's did a lot of research. Thank you for the 500 subscribers on YouTube. We appreciate that so much. We're on the road to 1K. We're on the road to All In. And we're on the road to some good eating because AEW is cooking.
And if you were that 500th and you know you were that 500th, DM us. We will definitely send you a little care package.
That's right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like always, thank you for riding this journey with us. And remember, always
keep the kayfabe.